Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
Steph Curry and the Warriors avoided losing a 3-1 lead again. You remember the last time that happened. Also, the Cavs and Pacers started their second-round series in Cleveland without Darius Garland, and Sean Payton is building something interesting in Denver. Today's episode brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time.
I'm Peter Bukowski, starting your day with the can't-miss stories and biggest debates in sports. You're Locked On Sports Today.
Searching all major sports. Found.
Let's start with the biggest story.
Steph Curry and the Warriors avoided another 3-1 collapse, defeating the Houston Rockets in Game 7. Locked On Warriors host Charlie Walter discusses Golden State's crucial victory.
We knew at the beginning of this season, it took like 3 games to know that when Buddy Hield is hot, and the stats back this up, the Golden State Warriors win. Hield had 22 points in the first half, 6 3-pointers. He had 22 points before Steph Curry hit a shot in this game, and the Warriors had a double-digit lead. Curry had 0. Hield had 22. Warriors were up double figures. Draymond had double-digit points at that point. Outstanding. Hield finishes with 33, had 9 triples in the contest. Playoff Jimmy hit just tough shot after tough shot. He is a big shot maker and a big shot taker. Every time the Rockets tried to cut a 14-point deficit into like 5, into 3, whatever in the second half, it was Hield, it was Curry, it was Butler hitting big shot after big shot, and the Golden State Warriors move on to face the Minnesota Timberwolves. Your opening thoughts on a huge performance from Buddy Hield?
Why does my guy think I'm hating on Buddy Hield? I don't hate on Buddy Hield. And tonight, what could you say? He was unbelievable. And like, first of all, that pass that Steph hit him with, when I think that was his first 3, the like weird over the shoulder. After that, it just seemed, when Buddy has those nights, man, it seems like he could just throw it over his shoulder and it'll go in. It's so much fun to watch. And he's just such a fun guy in general. I've never hated on Buddy Hield. I've maybe reported accurately when he doesn't have good games, but look,
we've both hated on him, but it's not necessarily hate. It's literally reading a box score and saying he went 0 of 5 from 3 and did nothing. Yes.
Yeah, no, you don't get this every night. If he did this every night, he'd be Steph Curry, but he does it sometimes. And tonight he did it in the biggest possible moment. So you're not going to take anything away from that guy. And by the way, you know what I was thinking about as this game was closing? Buddy Hield outplayed Jalen Green in this 7-game series.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the Warriors will take that. That is, if you told anybody before the series, hey, you know what, Buddy Hield's going to have a better series than Jalen Green. Okay, Warriors win. Like, we know how good they are when he's hot, and tonight was certainly one of those nights. And you know what? Miguel in the chat points this out too. He was making an impact defensively tonight. He's never going to be Draymond Green, but his effort was good. He made fewer mistakes than we often see from him, and nothing but credit for Buddy tonight. He was awesome.
Warriors were awesome from the rip, man. I mean, it was Draymond with 8 points in the first couple minutes of the game, knocked down a few threes, went strong to the bucket for a layup. You knew that Butler was going to get after it early and often. Curry, though, you could tell the thumb was bothering him early. I think he missed his first 5 shots in the game, 4 threes. Didn't really look good until the final 30 seconds of the first half. Second half, however, when it came to Steph, he was getting inside. They were basically, over pressuring Curry to the point where he'd just go right past them and lay it up and in, had some slick reverses, used his gravity to his advantage all night and found Buddy Hield. Or found someone who would find Buddy Hield. Kerr pushed a bunch of the right buttons today. Udoka went with the lineup that had given them a plus 35 advantage entering this game. That's the 2 bigs with Adams and Şengün. And today was the first time in the series where it felt like the Warriors completely took advantage of it. And the reason is because when Buddy Hield is knocking down threes like that, it's a completely different team. And you're right. You don't get it every night. You got it tonight, and you just kicked the Rockets' asses, but forget the 103 points. That is the style that the Warriors wanted to play in this series. Don't turn it over as much as the Rockets. I believe that was a check in that regard tonight. They'd won every single game when they turned it over less. And you correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they won that statistic.
Yeah, they killed them. Well, I mean, the Rockets didn't turn it over a ton, but Warriors only turned it over 7 times. And that's really the thing they need to worry about. And I swear 3 of them were on 3 consecutive possessions in the third quarter, too. So for most of the game, incredibly secure with the ball. The chat has been pointing this out already. Part of what characterized tonight was really excellent defensive effort from everybody across the board. Steph Curry, Buddy Hield, everybody who got, even Kuminga, who was terrible tonight. Defensively, the effort was there, right? The whole team for 48 minutes was all over the Rockets. And you see what I was trying to say and maybe didn't say elegantly enough on Friday. Like, this Houston team doesn't have any answers for that. They're not quite good enough. Now, look, they're an exciting, young, up-and-coming team that is a legitimate playoff scorer away from being truly dangerous. But they don't have that guy, and we saw it again tonight. And the Warriors made sure we saw it again by defending their butts off from the opening whistle. That was a big part of tonight. But, you know, it really is Buddy. And Buddy might not give you what he gave you tonight every night, but the Warriors are going to have to get that from somebody every night that they want a playoff win. Because I would actually argue, you know, who knows what the thumb, I don't know. But I would argue that as much as, if not more than the thumb, what slowed Steph down in the first half was they were double teaming him on the touch almost every time. I mean, the first half I was watching with my about to be 6-year-old, right? And I'm telling him, look, Pajemski's getting wide open runners from 5 feet because they got 2 guys on Steph 4 feet beyond the 3-point line. And Stephen Curry usually makes the right play in those situations. I think we've had some bumps in that road, but for the most part, Stephen Curry usually makes the right play when he is double and triple teamed. The question has been, are the other guys going to hit the open shots that they get? And tonight, Buddy hit basically all of them.
You can stay up to date on the Golden State Warriors by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Warriors on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app. You're Locked On Sports Today. Coming up, the Cavs and Pacers tipped off their second-round series in the East. Before we get to that, Abdul Carter is still looking for a number. And I'm not talking about for a date. There's nothing like the energy of a live game, whether it's catching a last-minute Major League Baseball showdown or soaking up the excitement of an NBA matchup. But finding great seats at a great price, that used to be a challenge until Game Time. With last-minute deals, all-in prices, and the lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Plus, ticket prices actually drop as the beginning of the game gets closer, so you can score amazing seats at a great price. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. Rookie Abdul Carter is quickly learning the hardest part of joining the Giants might be picking a number. First, Lawrence Taylor shut down his request to unretire number 56. Then Phil Simms seemed open to letting Carter wear his number 11, only his family overruled him. Outvoted, Simms said. Carter, who wore number 11 at Penn State, took it in stride. At this rate, he might be rocking 00, which, by the way, I would not be opposed to. Over in Major League Baseball, the Dodgers look to finish off a strong series against the Braves.
Dustin May hung 2 sliders to Austin Riley. That's all the Braves needed in this one. What's up? This is Jeff Snyder from Locked On Dodgers. Dodgers lose to the Braves 4-3. 2 2-run homers by Austin Riley on bad pitches from Dustin May. Ended up being all the Braves would score. They were done scoring after about the 3rd inning. But unfortunately, the Dodgers, they clawed back, got within 1 run, but then their rally in the 9th inning fell short. They had Hae-Sung Kim on 3rd base with just 1 out in the 9th. But Miguel Rojas and Austin Barnes both struck out to end the game. Dodgers can't finish off the season sweep of the Braves. They finished the season 5-1 against the Braves. Their lead in the National League West is now down to half a game over the Padres, who just finished sweeping the Pirates. Dodgers now head to Miami. Padres head to New York to face the Yankees, so should be a chance for the Dodgers to hopefully extend that lead over the next few days. Sure, check out Locked On Dodgers every weekday morning on YouTube or wherever you get podcasts. We'll talk all about this one and the whole series win against the Braves.
In the NHL playoffs, the Jets and Blues squared off in a pressure-packed Game 7.
Putting it towards what we just saw, enough justice really isn't going to go far enough. What Winnipeg just did against the St. Louis Blues in Game 7 is the stuff of miracles. It is the stuff of a team of destiny. I thought that this team might be on that path when they were close to winning the President's Trophy, but this is the stuff that makes you truly believe. I will admit I was doubting this team after a couple of awful road games. I thought the Jets were going to be on the ropes after they had a horrendous opening period tonight. Things were looking flat, and yet somehow, when the team needed a hero most, Cole Perfetti stepped up in the last few seconds of the game, literally less than 2 seconds remaining to tie it, forcing double overtime. The Jets finished it off, and they advanced to the second round to face Dallas. Winnipeg, thank you. I'm your host, Harrison Lee from Locked On Winnipeg Jets. We'll be previewing and talking about all the series coverage this coming week. See you then. But for tonight, fans, just enjoy. Have a great night. And as always, go friggin' Jets, go.
Naomi Osaka is back in the winner's circle, and this time it's on clay. The 4-time Grand Slam champ captured her first WTA title since 2021 and her first since becoming a mom. She won in straight sets at Le Open 35. Osaka, who once called clay her least favorite surface, now owns a trophy on it. With the French Open around the corner and her ranking jumping to number 48, the comeback starting to feel very real. No Darius Garland for Game 1 for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and they fall to the Indiana Pacers, a 121-112 Game 1 upset. Danny Cunningham from Locked On Cavs joins me now. And Danny, is the story of Game 1 for the Cavs as easy as, hey, it would have been really nice to have Darius Garland?
I mean, that is certainly part of it. You look at what Darius Garland can bring to the floor for the Cavs as an all-star point guard, somebody that gets the ball moving much more than I thought it did on Sunday. I thought the Cavs got sticky offensively. The fact that he is somebody that is considered an elite level three-point shooter, and the Cavs shot their second worst mark of the entire season, going just 9 of 38 for 23.7% from beyond the arc against the Pacers. I think, Peter, that this is a series where the Cavs are going to need to lean in to what they do best offensively, and that certainly includes Darius Garland being on the floor. I don't know if it's as simple as, hey, we didn't have Darius Garland, so we didn't win this game, but that certainly is a big part of it for the Cavs.
I think, frankly, you could even simplify it further if you wanted. A -10 3-point make deficit and you only lose the game by 9 points. If I'm a Cavs fan wanting to make the optimistic case, I feel like I can make a pretty straightforward one that says, hey, if the Pacers shoot a little worse and we shoot a little better, even without Darius Garland, we could have won Game 1.
I think that's a lot of it coming out of this game. And it's so easy to say, well, one team made shots and another team missed shots. And it's never just as simple as that, right? But when you're the Cavs, who finished this season as the second best three-point shooting team by percentage in the NBA, and they come off a series against the Miami Heat where they shot 44% from beyond the arc, which is the best mark of any team in the first round. And then they come out and they were 9 of 38. They're outscored by 30 points from beyond the arc and still only lost the game by 9 points. And it was, a game they were leading in the fourth quarter at certain points of it. I do think that you come away from this feeling, okay, this is going to average out, so to speak. The Cavs are not going to shoot this poorly again. The Pacers probably aren't going to shoot that well again. If you want to be optimistic about this from a Cavs standpoint, it's going to be, okay, we're just going to shoot the basketball better in Game 2 on Tuesday, and they'll be fine because of that.
You also don't expect Tyrese Halliburton to make key defensive plays at the end of a game. That's not normally something that you're going to see. So, okay, let's just say this was an outlier game in some of those ways. Still, for the Cavaliers, Darius Garland not being out there, you wouldn't expect it to have a material impact on defense the way that it seemed to in this game, where the Cavaliers defense, we're used to being at a certain standard, and it just didn't seem like it was in this game. Is that a matchup thing? Is that a rust thing? What do you attribute that to?
I think early on, they really struggled to match the pace at which Indiana wants to play, right? Like they want to go up and down the floor. They want to get after it. They want to be very, very quick. That was an issue in the first quarter. I thought in quarters 2, 3, and 4, they were much better. They held the Pacers below 30 points in quarters 2, 3, and 4. Obviously, the defense wasn't perfect. I thought some of the three-pointers, not all of them, some of the three-pointers Indy hit, it's kind of nothing you can do, like end of shot clock, hand in face, difficult shots, and you give them credit. Kenny Atkinson, the head coach of the Cavs, after this game said it was just otherworldly shot making by the Pacers, and to give them credit for what they did. I also thought that the Cavs at times overhelped on the basketball, where they really overreacted to dribble penetration that the Pacers had, and some of the wide open looks that the Pacers got, and it felt like they didn't miss any of those, were created because the Cavs overreacted to something defensively. That is certainly an area where I think they need to be tightened up before game 2.
You have Donovan Mitchell as well. I was going to call him Darius Mitchell. Donovan Mitchell could not make a shot from 3, but he's like the perfect foil for what we saw from Indiana, but still finishes the game with over 30 points, but it took 30 shots for him to get there. Is this just the kind of load he has to take for this team without Darius Garland, or could they involve, Evan Mobley or some of the role-playing shooters in this offense a little bit more?
I think without Darius Garland, Donovan is going to have to feel as if he needs to carry a little bit of a heavier load offensively. And he has historically been somebody that comes out very aggressive in game 1 of a postseason series. This was the 8th consecutive game 1 in which he has scored 30 or more points, which sets a new NBA record, surpassing Michael Jordan, who had done it in 7 consecutive game 1s, 2 separate times in his career. So this is who Donovan, he was good, I think, at basketball. But he surpassed that because he's been somebody who comes out, starts a series off aggressively, and then kind of likes to see where he fits in out of that. I think part of the reason why his shot attempt number was so high was, yes, no Darius Garland. And 2, I think because other guys were missing shots at the rate they were missing shots. I mean, they started 3 of 15 from 3. He and Evan Mobley both made a 3-pointer in the opening minutes of this game, and then the Cavs really fell off from there from beyond the arc. So I do think that he felt as if, okay, I'm not making shots from deep. Nobody else is making 3-pointers consistently on this team tonight. I need to be more aggressive in getting to the rim, because it wasn't just that you saw 30 field goal attempts. He also took 9 free throws in this game too. So that is something that kind of made up for his, I guess, inefficiency going 13 of 30 from the floor. But overall, I just think that we are used to seeing an aggressive Donovan Mitchell in game 1 of a postseason series, and not having Darius Garland accentuated that on Sunday.
Stay up to date all year on the Cleveland Cavaliers by subscribing to Locked On Sports Today and Locked On Cavs on your favorite podcast app and on YouTube. Coming up, Sean Payton and the Broncos are putting the pieces together. The Denver Broncos might have something special on their hands. Locked On NFL host Tony Wiggins and Matt Williams admit that not only were they wrong about Denver, but Sean Payton might be building a real team here.
I totally misjudged and misread what the offensive guru and Sean Payton has decided to do, and that is build his defense, and he's building those roads and bridges, right, that we talk about.
I'm a big fan. I really am. I mean, he took over a bad situation in Denver. I mean, remember, it wasn't as bad as Deshaun Watson, but they had just traded for Russell Wilson. They didn't have any picks. He's in 2 seasons, he is 18 and 16. I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, it really is, because he didn't have that much talent. And now he's starting to get the talent, building through the lines, found a quarterback, handpicking the guys that he wants. Barron kind of falls in their lap. Did they need him? No, but who cares? Just throw him in the mix. And yeah, man. I think we've had this conversation, but I firmly believe that there are maybe 10 coaches right now, not even all of them are employed, Belichick being one of them, that they just almost can't bottom out. I mean, Tomlin, Harbaugh, I think Pete Carroll might be that guy for the Raiders, where you give them crappy ingredients and they'll still make you a decent stew. But if you give them good, you give them good ingredients and it's a wonderful stew, you know?
Yeah, man.
I also have to put my hand up on this one. I didn't buy it. I didn't buy Sean Payton in Denver. I didn't buy the Bo Nix phenomenon. And they're good. And this team just keeps getting better. Some of that is the general manager, the construction of this team. But you have to believe Sean Payton is a major factor, a driving factor in putting together this roster. So Sean Payton turns out really good coach, even without Drew Brees. Not that Bo Nix is ever going to be Drew Brees, but he took a team that none of us thought was going to be a competitive playoff team, certainly that. And they're potentially more than that. Not that they're going to unseat the Kansas City Chiefs or the Baltimore Ravens or the Buffalo Bills in the AFC, but they're dangerous and they're building something. And if Bo Nix can take a step up, he's going to prove, and this Broncos team is going to prove a lot of people wrong. And finally, Scotty Sheffler returned to his hometown and rewrote the record books. Cradling his baby boy and holding back tears, Sheffler won the CJ Cup Byron Nelson with, get this, a 31 under finish, tying the PGA Tour's 72-hole scoring record at 253. It was his first win as a father, 11 years after he made his tour debut in this very tournament as a high school senior. A flub chip cost him sole possession of the scoring record, but it didn't matter for Sheffler. This one was personal. If you're catching this episode after hearing your favorite Locked On show, make sure to subscribe to Locked On Sports Today on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts so you never miss an episode. Also, if you're a new subscriber to Locked On Sports Today, we're here for you with the biggest stories in sports every day. Coming up, how will Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets handle the Thunder in Game 1? So at least until tomorrow, stay locked on sports today.
Locked On Podcast Network presents Locked On Sports Today.
For more episodes of Locked On Sports Today, go to our video on demand. Click on sports at the top of your screen. There, you'll find past episodes of Locked On Sports Today, plus other Locked On shows on demand.